Hey, I've heard you've been thinking about visiting Misool. Well, you must check out this video because you don't want to miss the best spots, do you? In this video, I will show you the absolute best places you must visit. Make sure you watch this video till the end, and not only because every place is awesome and worth visiting, but also because in the end I will share my itinerary that can help you to maximize your time. Just one more thing before we get into the details: the order of places in this video is not from less beautiful to more beautiful, because quite frankly that would be impossible. All of them are amazing. I'm gonna follow a geographical order from like north to south and from west to east. So let's look at the map. Misool is made up of one huge island and hundreds of other smaller islands. All the homestays plus the only resort are located on the smaller islands in the southeast side of Misool, plus the village Yelit, where the ferry goes to, is also here on a small island. Yelit village is in the middle of this southeast archipelago. From here, the places of interest can be reached in two directions. Some of them are in this northern chain of islands, and some others are located south of Yelit. There are lots of islands to the west as well, but there aren't any established sites there. I'm sure those islands are beautiful too, but with limited time, there are more than enough spots to see in the northern and southern chain of islands. Normally, the ferry allows you to stay for 3 days. More info on this in my previous video. So yeah, in this video, I will show you places that are easily reachable during this time frame. So yeah, let's get started. Let's start with the northern chain of islands. The first place is Puncak Harfat, or Harfat Peak. Misool is full of rocky islands and bays. Some of them are higher than others. There are a few built-up viewpoints across Misool. One of them is called Harfat Peak, just a short boat ride away from Yelit village. There is a jetty and a staircase that goes all the way to the top, offering some of the most beautiful views in Misool. Climbing the stairs takes about 15 to 20 minutes at a normal pace. It isn't that hard, but it is quite steep at some sections, plus the heat can make the climb more difficult. Once you are at the top, the view of the nearby bays and islands will take your breath away, even if you don't have a drone. Number 2, Dafalen Peak, which is also the small heart-shaped lagoon. Just east of Harfat Peak, in the same area, there is another viewpoint called Dafalen. On Google Maps, it is called Love Pool Dafalen because there is a heart-shaped lagoon here. There are 2 of these in Misool. This is the smaller one. On my recent visit, I didn't have time to climb up to the top, but I did it back in 2018. This time, I just flew my drone over because it is also close to Yamnini Homestay where I stayed at. In my opinion, Harfat Peak offers more impressive views, but if you are okay with climbing another staircase, because yeah, there are quite a few of them in Misool, well, you should definitely go for it. Number 3, Yamnini Homestay. Next to Dafalen is Yamnini Homestay, which is basically a tiny archipelago on its own with a star-shaped shallow area. It is simply gorgeous, and its location is also great. It has an amazing house reef, great for snorkeling anytime. I highly recommend staying here, but you can also stop by for some snorkeling, I guess. You can always ask for permission. So, number 4, Lenmakana Jellyfish Lake. This is one of the main attractions of Misool near Yamnini Homestay. This is an isolated lake where jellyfish evolved to be harmless due to lack of predators. You can swim here with thousands of jellyfish, which is a quite surreal experience. To get to the lake, you need to climb a bit. There are no stairs here, but it isn't very difficult. I made it wearing flip-flops, but I highly recommend bringing a pair of shoes with you if you can. This spot is a must while you are in Misool. Number 5, an unnamed island near the Jellyfish Lake. So I couldn't really find a name for this island, but it is quite easy to find, especially in a satellite mode on Google Maps. Misool has hundreds of islands, but they are mostly rocky, with smaller beaches or no beach at all. But this island is basically one spacious beach with shallow waters around it. It is the perfect tropical paradise. I visited this island back in 2018, so my footage is quite old, but I think you can see how nice it is. You should check it out if you want that paradise beach feeling, because honestly, Misool is more about the beautiful islands and bays rather than the beaches. Number 6, Namlol. Further to the east from the lake is an area called Namlol. There is no viewpoint here, but the bays are gorgeous and it has some nice beaches and shallow waters. It is a popular site because erosion made some interesting rock formations in the shallow waters. Unfortunately, on my recent visit, I was here during high tide. If you can, check this place out during low tide, probably around noon or so, because then the water around the blue hole disappears, exposing more white sand. Number 7, Gemfi Island. Gemfi Island is home to a small fishing community, and it is usually used as a place to have lunch after visiting the magical Balbulol archipelago that is nearby. The beach isn't that beautiful, but the view around the island is quite nice, and if you're lucky, you can see the catch of the day, which is quite interesting. And actually, if you purchase some fish, you don't really have to, but you can, and it's super cheap, and of course it is super fresh. Number 8, Balbulol. Balbulol is amazing. I said it in my previous videos that it is quite possibly my favorite spot in Misool. Well, it is one of my favorite spots, that's for sure. First of all, it is gorgeous. The rock islands here are tall, so the lagoon inside is very peaceful and quiet. You can only hear some birds. The feeling is quite similar to some islands around El Nido in the Philippines, but there is a huge difference. Balbulol is normally empty. There is literally nobody around. There is a viewpoint here that is a bit difficult to reach. I didn't really go up there because I had my drone with me, and instead of climbing to the top and climbing back down, I decided to spend my time with swimming in the lagoon, and it was a magical experience. So yeah, you just have to see this spot for yourself once you are in Misool. Balbulol is basically the easternmost point of the northern chain of islands in Misool. So let's check out the southern chain of islands. So we go to point number 9, which is a place called Olobi. Olobi is just another favorite spot of mine. It is halfway between Yellow village and the southernmost islands in Misool. It's a great place to stop on a day trip to the most famous attraction in the south, but more about that soon. Olobi is a few islands that form a beautiful lagoon and a gorgeous beach. Olobi is remote, therefore peaceful and very quiet, just like Balbulol. Honestly, beaches don't get any better than this. Number 10, Karawapop, which is the big heart-shaped lagoon. So the Karawapop Love Lagoon is one of the most famous attractions of Misool. This lagoon is bigger than the one in Dafalen, and its shape is almost a perfect heart. There is a viewpoint you can climb up to. Of course, there is a staircase. So yeah, there's a lot of climbing in Misool, but actually all of them are worth it. The viewpoint is quite high, so you get a really pretty view. This climb is actually a little shorter than, for example, the one in Harfat Peak. So I think you can be up there in like 10 minutes or so, and really the view is simply gorgeous. Number 11, Kaleg Island. Kaleg Island is to the east from Karawapop, and it has a big white sandy beach, which is quite rare in Misool. There is a ranger station here because these waters are in a marine protected area. So this beach has touristy facilities like tables behind the beach where you can have lunch, for example. It's a beautiful beach to spend some time, especially if you have a drone, because there is a beautiful blue hole on the other side of the island. Number 12, Yelit Island. We got to one of the easternmost points of the southern island chain in Misool, and this island is not only gorgeous, its beach is also home to several baby sharks that stay in the shallow waters until they grow big. This is one spot where you can swim amongst them easily. So they aren't big, it's definitely not a scary experience, so you should absolutely make your way out here once you are in the area. These are the places I visited in the south, and because of the larger distances there isn't really enough time to visit anything else on a single day. I would like to mention that there are a few caves in Misool that are somewhat popular attractions locally. I visited two of them, one back in 2018, which is called Goa Keramat, and the other one on my recent trip that is called Goa Putri Termenung. They are interesting, especially Goa Keramat, where you can swim inside and it gets dark after a while, so it's a surreal experience. They can be worth visiting, but in my opinion these spots are not as beautiful or not as special as the others I mentioned earlier. So they are not really must-sees in my opinion, especially with limited time if you come by the weekly ferry. So now I tell you the itinerary that can fill up your time perfectly. On the first day you cannot start very early because this is when you get to Misool. You will start your morning in Yelit on the ferry. It is best to spend the first day in the north near the homestay you want to stay at, so you can check in and have lunch between two spots. You could start in Namlol after leaving Yelit village, then go to the beach on the island I couldn't find a name for, or maybe visit the Goa Putri Termenung cave if you'd like. After that you can head to the homestay for lunch. In the afternoon you can check out Harfat Peak, and you can finish off the day in a nearby village to send some messages back home perhaps, because yeah, keep in mind that phone signal and of course Wi-Fi is not really available outside of villages. But if you don't care much about that, you could probably squeeze in Dafalen Peak before you head back to your homestay. So the second day is your only full day in Misool, so you can go on larger distances. This is the best day to visit the southern chain of islands, for example. You can head straight to Karawapop. After climbing to the top, you can snorkel outside the lagoon. After that, Kaleg is nearby for lunch. From there, you can go to Yelit to swim with the sharks and enjoy the beautiful beach. From Yelit, you can stop at Olobi on the way back to your homestay. Here the distances are really larger, so you won't have much time for anything else. On your third and final day, you should also start early and head straight to Balbulol. After Balbulol, you can stop at Gemfi to have an early lunch, and from there you can go to Lenmakana jellyfish lake on your way back to the homestay. The ferry from Misool to Sorong leaves in the afternoon, so yeah, you don't really have much time for anything else. So there you have it, all the places you shouldn't miss in Misool. If this video convinced you to visit Misool, I hope it did, but you are not sure about the logistics, check out my previous video where I put all the necessary information together. It will be very useful if you plan your trip to Misool. Oh, and of course, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give a like and also subscribe to my channel to make sure you don't miss any other awesome places in the future. Alright, I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you for your time. Have an awesome day and see you in the next video.